All right, again, why you guys are here is data, or is performance. These engines want to be as rich as they can possibly be on the bottom of the RPM curve. So what I mean by that is, coming off the corner, if I could get this engine, if the rules allow me to feed it through a straw rather than an 11 thousandths bottom end jet or a 38 thousandths main jet, if I could feed it through a straw, it's gonna run like crazy off the corner. It's gonna pull because it wants to be rich. But as soon as we get on the other side of the bell curve, it wants to be as lean as possible because it's back to that outboard motor thing that we know it runs better. What I hear from so many people is, where are you on your float adjustment? Well, I haven't looked at it. That's the way it came from the box. We're gonna talk about that. What I want to do is pass around some components to you guys, give you a little bit of an idea of carburation, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about it. What I'm passing around right now is just a carburetor. You know what I need? RJ, can you throw me a Phillips screwdriver? Yeah. If you would, thank you. Guys, float adjustment. Float adjustment. First of all, most of you guys run in 5, 10, 15 degree mounts. Some are maybe 10s. Show of hands 5. Show of hands 10. Show of hands 15. Okay, so what you're going to get with 3 different angles are 3 different adjustments. The reason being is when we start to pitch that thing further and further, what it's going to do, it's going to change the way that fuel sits in that float bowl. So 15 degree, have you set your float yet? We're ballpark. Are you in the 860? Oh, thank you very much. So what I would tell you is, and for your guys' benefit, 860 is the Briggs recommendation. But now I'm going to go back to the performance thing. I want to get more out of it, okay? How am I getting more? I want that outboard effect. I want that thing to just wake up coming off the corner. As much fuel as I can get to it off the bottom, but as soon as I get to the other end, what I want to do is I want to lean it. I want it to be a leaner mixture. So if I look at my spark plug and it's not porcelain white, it tells me that we might be throwing too much fuel out. So if I see a light brown, I'm thinking, I'm not hitting it right. Any color at all. If it's not the color of this paper, you're throwing too much fuel out. So, and it sounds crazy, but again, coming off the corner, what we're looking for, we can make some adjustments with this. If I go to 900 on that, what I've done, and I've rocked it forward like that, and my needle, or I should say my primary jet's right in it anyway, in the float, I got all the fuel I need on the bottom end, but I've leaned it out on the top end. You understand how that can happen? If I've got an angle, if I'm maximum airflow through the Venturi and maximum vacuum is at an idle. When I modulate that throttle, it changes the vacuum that's, and how it's going to pull. There's Venturi vacuum and there's manifold vacuum. When we open up that slide all the way, now this is Venturi vacuum. By creating a narrow point, it's going to speed up air going through. It's going to pull air. It's going to pull fuel out of the main jet up into the engine. Here's the challenge. If I'm running a green slide and I'm at 860 or 850, I know that number will work for me fairly well on the black slide, but now I've got a lot less air coming in, and I'm still introducing the same amount of fuel. And that's an oh-shucks moment for me, because I know that I want to be lean on the top end, a little richer on the bottom, but lean on the top end. I can't control because the jets are static. I can't change those. So what I want to do is I'm going to say, hey, wait a minute, I can control a couple of things with this carburetor. You guys have all known that there's a slide in that carburetor with the needle jet through it. That needle jet has 5 notches in it. And we'll come back to that. That's my fine-tuning device. So if I said in a junior class, I want to wake this engine up. I want it to be that outboard where it's perfect AF, perfect air-fuel mixture coming off the corner. I'm going to go to 880. I'm going to go to 890. I might even go to 920 because I want to know what it does. I can tell you I already know what it does, and you're going to experiment with that. You're going to probably find a sweet spot somewhere around 890 to 900 with the green slide, because what I did is, and I'll explain that. All things being equal, I leaned out the top end by going to 890 from 860. Can we agree on that? Okay, so how do I account for that on the bottom end of fuel? On the bottom end, when I say the bottom end, I'm talking about the lower RPM curve. So when I come off the corner, all things being equal, remember I wanted to throw more fuel at it, now I can't because I dropped my fuel level. Okay, well there's plan B. There's plan B. There's this needle jet that's inside these carburetors. And guys, I love to help you guys at the track. It's going to be you during the work, but I'm going to talk with you. I got 8 guys asking me today before we even go out on track, where should I put my needle jet? What clip should I be on? The very top one I'm going to call 1 for conversation purposes. The very bottom notch I'm going to call 5. So if we have a conversation, if I say, where are you? So, well, I think I'm in the middle. I said, well, go, give me a number. Well, 3. Is that 3 from the top or 3 from the bottom? 1 is the top, 5 is the bottom. Let's keep it simple for all of us. So, remember we went to 900. 900 leaned me out on the top end. Less fuel in the bowl, so it's going to be able to suck less fuel because of the lower level, a little less fuel going into the engine. But I wanted to come off the corner a little bit harder and pull better. So, what I did is there's a C-clip here. What I did is I dropped that C-clip down to 5 on the bottom. Now I raised it a 1/4 inch in the main jet, or in the emulsion tube. I raised it a 1/4, and that's it in idle. So it's not going to idle as well, but we don't care about idling. So when I come off the corner, this thing is going to be a greater charge of fuel coming in because the needle jet had been raised initially in the slide before I put it back together. And that's a hugely important concept. Does everybody understand how the higher 900 float level and dropping the C-clip and raising the needle jet work together? Everybody, it's a simple concept, but where do I find the sweet spot? It's everything off the corner. I was able to richen the mixture off the bottom by a charge of air coming in. Okay, that was one way. I changed my float level. There's a carburetor circulating, and how do these things work together? Remember, it's a series of 1/4%. So far, we've 1/4% is the fuel level, but by a fuel float level by itself, it's a 1/4%. But when I introduced that needle jet, that's another 1/4% to 0.5% by moving it around. Okay, that's great. Now we're 0.5% better than our competition. Okay, now what we do is, everybody understands that what a Holley carburetor is, or have seen one or heard about them. They have accelerator pumps. So as soon as somebody rocks down the throttle, they have a diaphragm in there that shoots a steady stream of fuel into the engine, or EFI, fuel injection. It's a metered amount of fuel into that engine. We've got no accelerator pump with this thing. Well, you know what? We do, but we just have to understand where it is. In the back of the carburetor, as we take this off, it must be said, this carburetor, guys, if it gets altered, I've only seen 850,000 of them, and I can tell you, David Klaus, every carburetor that goes out goes across his desk and he measures every tolerance. It's that important to him in the program. So when somebody says, Dan, they're sending out junk, I say, really? Let me take a look at that carburetor. Really? Okay, it looks like somebody altered that. Well, no, that wasn't me. Chain of custody, back again. Don't let somebody mess with your stuff. It will be found, and there's nothing that makes me sadder than DQing a junior, but it's not me, it's the rule book, and the rule book doesn't mind doing it at all. So please, please. So, on the side of the carburetor, there is a throttle adjustment, or I should say a slide adjustment. It's the silver one. And in the back of the carburetor, there is a brass adjustment. And we've all heard these things before. People say, okay, well, where do I adjust it? Should be 2 screws or 2 twists out or 3 twists out? Or maybe I adjust it for the highest RPM at an idle. We don't race these things at idle. And really, even though it idles well, that doesn't do anything for me. So, again, we're going back by changing that needle. It might not idle the way we want, but it's going to perform better. So, as we take a look at this, and I want to pass this around because I want you guys to see it. But as we play with this, there's an orifice in the back of the carburetor that as soon as air starts to flow, I'm just going to hand it around this way. Well, what I want you guys to do is in the back of the carburetor, and I'll get it over to you guys as well. Sorry, I'm starting to head again. In the back of the carburetor, I'll show you guys here, and then what we're talking about. In the back of the carburetor, and the air horn we call it, there's a hole off to the right side. Air will come through there and energize the primary circuit. Primary circuit is the primary pickup jet. 12 thousandths of an inch, 12 thousandths is what it is, 13 thousandths no-go. And what it does, as air comes through, it acts as an accelerator pump. It energizes the bottom end of the primary circuit. It will help to force air into that galley and then ultimately energize the primary jet to make it pull off the corner better. So what I want you to see is the further we go out with that, you'll see the very tip of the needle inside there. You know, absolutely, if we could do that, that'd be great. I'll start it back on this end. Okay, so as we put this, and you might see the same thing right there. Okay, perfect. So if you look inside there, you'll see the tip of that needle inside there. And I'll just talk about it a little bit now, what we're doing and why we're doing it. What we're doing is, I want to back that thing out as far as I can, so just before it doesn't fall out on its own. Because I want to open up that passage as wide as I can. If I screw it 6 or 8 turns inside there, it'll idle well, but it won't perform as well at the RPM range in which I want it to. So I'll back that thing out all the way. I'll put some Loctite around it, and then I'm twisting it back in about maybe 3 or 4 turns. And I set it and forget it. I never make that adjustment because it just doesn't matter how it performs in an idle. I know what it'll do at the top end of the RPM curve, and that's when you're going to get the most power out of it. When you come off the corner, you modulate the throttle, it's going to shoot it. Air is going to move at the same time that you open up the slide. It's going to energize the bottom half. Again, that's that other 0.25%. Now we've got float, we've got float, we have needle jet adjustment. We went to 4 on that, 3 or 4. During the summertime, I might be 3 because the air is thicker. I'm sorry, the air is thinner, it's hot. But daylight today, you might be 4 or 5. It's not going to idle with a darn, but it's going to pull off the corner like a truck, like a train coming off the corner. It will work to your advantage. So again, we've got those 3. We've got the needle jet that I just talked about. We've got the float level that we made the adjustment on, and now we're messing with the air bleeder. That's the air fuel bleeder on the primary circuit. So those are the 3 things that we've done there.